What's up, people? How we doing today? Yeah, this is coming to a new year, so I thought I'd make this video just recapping. Actually, I'm gonna recap what Professor Black Truth has recapped through this year. I just want to, because I think he put a lot of the issues right in line to the way we need to look at them, and I just want to expand on them and recap some of the issues of this year. So listen to what he had to say. Let's start.
As we look forward to 2024, it wouldn't be right to go on without looking back at the last year to see some of the highlights and lowlights that we've had to deal with and overcome. Of course, this list is not comprehensive, and I'm not listing these in any particular order, but here's a few of the events and people that I think deserve commenting on. Joe Biden's black voter support has been collapsing all year long. Just when they think the free fall is going to stop, it just continues. The white media had to come to terms with the fact that black men started off turning our backs on the Democrats, and they went apoplectic when they saw a growing number of black women who were also getting on code. With the white media having found its propaganda useless to stop this trend, and with the Democrats completely and thoroughly unwilling to actually treat black people like a constituency and to cater to our interests, they're instead hiding their head in the sand and surrounding themselves with their own bootlicks who will tell them sweet nothings about how it's going to be all right. Black folks are going to get back on the treadmill. But here we are at the end of the year.
We're gonna start right there. So the Democrats have done absolutely nothing for black people, right? So now you have, when it's time for voting to come around, you're gonna have these shills that come out, and they're gonna come out and they're gonna say, "Oh, all the things that Joe Biden and Democrats have done for us," which is gonna be absolutely nothing. They're gonna have to make up stuff, or they're gonna have to say stuff that he did over here at the corner over here that helped like one person or something like that. You know, it's just ridiculous. Like I heard a lady, a black lady from TikTok. I probably will put that up. She came out here and she was mentioning. She was pretty much insulting us. She was like, "You guys pretty are not smart enough to realize all the stuff that Joe Biden has done for you." She named all this bull crap that he actually didn't do. She named debt relief, the student loan debt relief, which only helped like a few people got help, but they really didn't get help because the actual bill that Joe Biden and Democrats put through is being it didn't go through because they got sued and a court stopped it. You see, so it never went through. He did some other things on executive order, which helped about 800,000 people maybe. You have $40 billion debt of student loan. That's not a lot. What he helped with his executive order. But see, the thing you have to realize is that the way he put it through where they knew that it was going to be challenged. They put it through where they knew that it wasn't going to cut the legal mustard. They knew that the courts were going to throw that down. They did that on purpose. You understand? So black people, like, the Democrats haven't done nothing for us. And we're not telling you to sit here and vote for the Republicans, because they ain't going to do nothing either. What we're telling you is to stop voting for the Democrats. That's just like you're in an abusive relationship. Right? That's what we're in, an abusive relationship with the Democrats. So just because you want to get away from the person that's abusing you doesn't mean you're running to someone else. You're just trying to get away from that asshole. That's it. Let's continue.
instead of black people backing down, we've doubled down. Next, you got the UFC's chief thug, Dana White. You know, normally with these mixed martial arts organizations, they don't allow intersex matches, but Dana White decided to make an exception when he beat his wife black and blue. And of course, his partner in crime, Ari Emanuel, went into hiding afterward.
Yeah, because Ari Emanuel is a scumbag. But let me put a point on that. You see how Dana White slapped his wife and they pretty much brushed it up under the rug. His career is good. He's still in the WC, whatever the fuck he's in, right? Excuse my language. He's still in there. He's still in his position. Jonathan Major, as you just saw, just happened recently. He pushed his ex-girl away and ran away from her. His whole career, everything is over with. So don't come talking to me about why there's not no white privilege in this world. The white man can slap his wife around on camera. Whack, 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 whack. His career is intact. Matter of fact, the system gets on code to protect him. A black man can run away from a white girl. His career is over with. The white girl who said that he was the attacker and she went back to his house, he didn't even go back there. He went back to his house. He passed out in his closet, and the structure in this country said, oh yeah, you black guy who is running away from her, you're an assaulter and you're the aggressor. Let's continue.
To this day, he rarely sticks his head up. You had female legislators in California who were demanding that Emanuel get rid of Dana White, but Ari instead lay low and said nothing. And the white media, being who and what they are, rather than call Ari Emanuel out for this, instead they allowed him to slither away. But the black media did not. Next, Kyrie Irving gets pushed, and he pushes back. Who would have thought that posting a link to something on Amazon would get people so heated? These attempts to plaster black people as being anti-Semitic didn't begin in October of this year. These efforts began in earnest a year ago, back in November of 2022. That was when Kanye West was making friends, as usual, and then because the white media is run by
Let's touch on that again. All right? Kyrie Irving, who reposted something somebody else posted, or no, he didn't even repost it. He just liked it because it was mentioning. It was a movie that was mentioning some of the other Jewish people in this world. Some of the original Jewish people. They don't want to hear that. You see? So he just liked a post, and they tried to destroy him. His owner, the owner of the basketball team that he was playing for, tried to come out and chastise him like he was some type of little boy. But Kyrie Irving played the game a little bit different. And that same owner sunk his own team. Because once Kyrie Irving was gone, it was a wrap for your team. Your team went from winning games to winning nothing. And I applaud that. Let's continue.
Ethnic racists, they did what they always do. Try to manufacture some phony, steady drum beat so that they can at least attempt to push the lie that black people are the real racists because, well, reasons. The owner of the New York Knicks, an Asian businessman named Joe Tsai, decided that he would try to score brownie points with the dominant society. So he publicly attacked Kyrie Irving and tried to make a show of treating him like a disobedient child. We're scolding him like he's just a little brat. He just knew that those racists he was trying to pander to would love it, but it backfired on him when the biggest names in the NBA spoke up for Kyrie Irving. Just this once, the $40 million slaves discovered their backbone. Joe Tsai thought that Kyrie and Kevin Durant were stuck in New York playing for him, that they couldn't leave. But they had been plotting to leave the whole time. First, Kyrie Irving announced that he was leaving in February, followed closely by Kevin Durant. And overnight, the Knicks went from being playoff contenders back to being a toilet bowl level team. And the same white media that Joe Tsai was trying to win the favor of began writing articles of
the black players that he was trying to chastise and think he was going to try to cheat like a boy. The only players that was making you money and putting people in the seats in your arena. You stupid son of a bitch. Scumbag. I think he's some type of Asian dude. Yeah. We set you straight. That's what they did. They set you straight. You lost about every game from that point on in. You scumbag. Thank you. We applaud that. Let's go.
About how he sunk his own franchise. But one of the lowlights of this putrid episode was when the white media bootlick has-been Goldie Taylor wrote a hit piece for Rolling Stone entitled "Black Anti-Semitism Isn't Rare, It's Ingrained." She then went on to write that black boys were the threat here, echoing what the Israeli Consul General in Atlanta said about the problem for Israel being the young black generation. So this is an organized effort to demonize black Americans as
Can we play some truth here? I want you to understand that black people are the only ones in this country who are not anti-Semitism. You understand? Even in the 1940s, it was a black American man who was trying to negotiate a place for the Jewish people to go, but nobody wanted them. We were even standing up for them then. We have never been anti-Semitic. There has not been one black foundational American that has ran in the synagogue and killed everybody. But that has happened. It just hasn't been us who's done it. And just like that fake Asian stuff crime that they was trying to put on black people, and they showed two videos of the same person in the pink shirt running around, hitting a black Asian person, talking about, oh my God, we gotta save the Asians. And they try to make it look like we were the ones who were doing all of that. Once again, just like you have never seen a black American run into a Jewish holy people and kill everybody, you have never seen a black person run into an Asian salon and kill people. It has happened. It just wasn't by us. So you can keep your focus on us. The real threat is still going to come into your doors and blow your head off. Let's continue.
Being inherently anti-Semitic, when in reality, we're the only ones who aren't. And even Rolling Stone knew that they had gone too far with that title, because within an hour or so of this hit piece being posted, Rolling Stone changed the title to Kanye, Kyrie, and Me, but behind the scenes, the same Ari Emanuel who had ignored the open violence of Dana White was doing the most to stir the pot on this one. And while he remains silent about his buddy Dana beating his wife in public, he needs to be forced to answer for his campaign of blatant anti-black race baiting. And speaking of race baiters, Ron DeSantis, the king of anti-wokeness, watched his campaign go to sleep. He never figured out that campaign tactics that work in blood-red states don't work anywhere else. As I've been telling you all since he began with his asinine anti-black crusade, he was making himself unelectable. Why? As I said, when someone goes to the extreme, they leave themselves with nowhere else to go. He had already passed, or rather tried to pass, laws to attack all things black in Florida, from black voters to books that even mention black people. He spent every day trying to one-up himself on how stupid he could be with his performative extremism. He did all the crap that Christopher Rufo told him to. But Rufo is a paid propagandist for the Manhattan Institute, not a political strategist. He knows absolutely nothing about how elections work, especially national ones. You see, the kind of asinine displays that Rufo recommends people engage in only plays well on Fox News, but it turns off absolutely everyone else. It also doesn't help that Ron DeSantis can't control the fact that he doesn't like people. He is beyond awkward whenever he's around human beings, probably because he's not one. And by the way of dishonorable mention, the person who's beating DeSantis in the polls, Nikki Haley, refuses to say that slavery was the cause of the American Civil War, instead choosing to repeat the GOP shop-worn line about states' rights.
See, this is the reason why I tell y'all can't, when you disconnect yourself from the Democratic Party, that doesn't mean you run to the Republican Party. Just like I gave you an example. Just because you're getting out of an abusive relationship with the Democratic Party, I'm just getting the hell away from you. I don't mean I'm running to somebody else that's going to put me in an abusive relationship. I'm not messing with neither one of y'all. You can do whatever you want to do. Because if I realize being with either one of you is going to cost me what, I'm not going to be with neither one of you. Do you understand? Just like being in an abusive relationship, black people, get yourself out of the abusive relationship with the Democratic Party, who will slap you across your damn face. And then when you're ready to leave, they come back in the next voting cycle and be like, oh baby, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you. I'll never do that again. And then as soon as you take them back in, they do the same thing again. Slap you right across your face. That's exactly what the Democrats have been doing for black people for a long, long time. It's time for us to get up off the plantation. Just because you don't vote for the Democrats don't mean you got to vote for the Republicans. Neither one of them have no interest in doing that for us. So why don't you sit it out until somebody has the interest for you? They have an interest for everybody else. They're giving millions and billions of dollars to illegal immigrants. From Ukrainian to across all these worlds. And they still haven't given us our reparations. They tell you they forget giving you our reparations. But we can come up with a whole plan to give thousands of dollars to people, set them up. Could you imagine if you had that type of money? Just to get you back on your feet, or just to get you set up straight, to help you out. Mind you, that's your tax dollars that you're scrounging for every time you go to work. It's going to people that's sitting up in hotel rooms, illegal immigrants, getting $9,000 a month, getting food, health care, everything that you have to pay out of your ass for. You have to pay health care. If you don't have a job, do you know what you have to do for health care? You got grown men like you that's coming across the border that's getting free health care that you can't even get yourself as an American citizen. Think about that for a second. Let's continue.
It's about freedom and keep the government out of affairs. Now remember, after the Charleston Church massacre, when Nikki Haley was governor, she had to be dragged to the microphone to denounce that slaughter, but she dug in her heels on the Confederate flag until public pressure forced her to make what everyone recognized as an insincere statement criticizing the American swastika. But that was okay, because only a few months later she was back to defending it again, and this is why black folks do not and will not vote for the GOP. There's no cure for stupid. And speaking of stupid, this happened.
Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
So, I mean, woke is...
Listen to this. You know these people who talk about, oh, you don't like the woke. First of all, let me tell you, woke means black. So if you hear a white person talk about, oh, we don't like no woke, they mean black. If you hear a black person talk about woke, they just a stupid, ignorant, dumb nigga. Not knowing that the white people who talk about woke, they talking about your black ass. You stupid. Let's continue.
Sort of the idea that this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it. It is sort of...
Did you hear what she said? Woke is hard to find. hard to define, but we spent an entire chapter defining it. You can't make this stuff up. This lady wrote a book on woke, and when she was asked what woke means, she said, "Oh yeah, we wrote entire chapters on woke, but it's hard to explain. I don't know what to say." Continue. Watch this. Watch how stupid these people are. Watch how they're so hateful. Your hate clouds any intelligence in your mind. If you have any. The hate, it just takes all of that over. Continue.
Understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression. It's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
And this empty-headed mouthpiece, she wrote the book on woke, and then when somebody merely asked her what does woke mean, she had a complete meltdown. But then again, what do you expect? These clowns don't get hired because of their intelligence. They're hired because of their political reliability, which means their willingness to go along with whatever they're told to do. Tools like Christopher Rufo and Bethany Frankel are the incompetent operative class for the white right, and the moronic race-baiting and political extremism they engage in is the main reason the Republicans have increasingly found themselves losing voter support even in places they should have on lock. Speaking of which, 2023 was also the year of elevating the Democrats' Negro mascots, like Jasmine Crockett and the two clout chasers in the Tennessee legislature. The white media tried to report on those two as if they were some sort of great...
I don't know if you know who Jasmine Crockett is. She's like a black House representative in the House right now. Yeah, she's one of them mammies who are with the whole stressed out, dried up ass weave on the camera talking about, yeah, well, black people don't really know nothing about civics, so they don't even know how this works. So if they actually knew something, they would know all the stuff that Joe Biden has done for us. If you don't get your dried up ass weave out of the way. We not listening to sellout, turncoat Negroes like you anymore. You understand? As a matter of fact, go boil that weave and revive that grism you got on top of your head. Let's continue.
Paragons moved by conscience, but in reality they were nothing more than the DNC's get out the vote effort. These guys used to be all bougie and formal. Back when Obama was president, they were hoping to catch that particular wave. But when that fizzled out, they decided to become offensively stereotypical instead. And when people have Big Bird as part of their parade, that's how you know they're not on the side of the angels. And while white power doesn't like having black people around, it's also true that it requires just a handful of Negroes to be their sock puppets for the sake of sending them back amongst...
Just a handful of you Negroes, because they got to send you, like he's about to say, they got to send you around us. To try to fool us. Just like Betty Crockett or whatever that girl name is. They're trying to fool us to vote for nothing. And we're not even voting for nothing. You know what we're voting for? We're voting for more immigrants to come into your neighborhoods and the Democrats to give them all your resources. While they give you nothing. They give you they might give you a monument or some shit. They're giving them tangibles, money. Oh, we don't want no reparations. We gonna talk about a check. They are talking about checks, cards with thousands of dollars off in it. They're giving the migrants right in front of you, boy. Why they tell you, oh, we can't give you nothing. We ain't got nothing for you. Let's continue.
Us so that they can mislead us and derange our own internal politics. Understand, this was a DNC operation aimed at raising these two's political profile and to appeal to white educated female voters on the gun issue. These two are all angry over gun reform, but said absolutely nothing about reparations or any other form of tangibles for us. They want to make a spectacle of themselves over something? They should have made a spectacle about that. Summer is always swelteringly hot in the Deep South, and in Alabama this summer it was absolutely boiling, but not because of the heat, but rather because of the racism. You see, the good old boys in Alabama got an attitude this summer and decided to attack a black co-captain of a riverboat. But what they didn't know was the black folks in that particular place were on code, and those black residents gave those racists an attitude adjustment. And the country was
Excuse me. Because we all remember what happened on that boat in Alabama. Like he said, those were black people who were on code. See, they got a thing out here, and they act like as if we can't defend ourselves. And they try to prove it in the court of law. You can be in full self-defense, and it can be clear that you're in self-defense, and they still try to charge you when you black. You could be protecting somebody could be rushing in your house trying to kill you and your family, and you use the self-defense. There's a scumbag prosecutor somewhere that's still gonna try to prosecute you because you black. But there's a lot of us displaying the fact that it doesn't matter what you do in the courtroom. We're going to defend ourselves out in the streets. We're going to pull together as much resources as possible, and we're going to defend ourselves in the courtroom. You can do what you want in the courtroom. In the streets, we're going to give your ass the business. You understand? Let's continue.
Introduced to America's newest folk hero, the chairman of Alabama, to have a crowd of black people literally tripping over each other to be the first to put these racists in their place. Oh, the bigots took a huge L in front of the world with that one, and they feebly tried to get their own back by bringing phony charges against the black residents for stopping this racist mob's rampage. Predictably, their efforts at intimidating the black residents into not defending themselves failed. But you had a black judge who decided that she was going to give these white racist mobsters a slap on the wrist. That isn't justice.
See, in the same place that these people did attack on, he was yelling out racist things, calling the N-word. This is a hate crime, man. But that's not going. They're not going to activate a hate crime against when it's done against black people. When it's done against Asians or somehow, you can just say something to an Asian. They be like, "That's a hate crime." You can attack a black person yelling the N-word, and they still won't charge it as a hate crime. This is the reason why I say we'll deal with it in court. But while we in the streets, we're going to give you the business. I deal with it in court. I'm trying to make it to court. I'm going to make it to court. So I'm going to give you the business in the street. You understand me? Let's continue.
2023, we also saw pretend liberals like Skip Bayless and Bill Maher show their true colors. Actually, Bill Maher has had his putrid colors on display for many years now. The only people who couldn't see that both of these guys were mouth-frothing anti-black racists were blind. Comedy and the sports page have long been seen as America's way to be able to speak all sorts of anti-black racism while claiming that it's just a joke, or we're not talking about black people, or we're just talking about black athletes and teams with majority black rosters. That's who we're talking about. And speaking of sports, Coach Deion Sanders made a big splash with his second act as a football coach at the University of Colorado. His first move was to disrupt the good old boy structure of recruiting athletes. He revitalized interest in college sports, even though he had a losing year. Don't expect him to get paid as much as Nick Saban, though. No matter how great a season he has, these sports organizations have a rule that even black people who dominate those sports must always have a white athlete or coach who is paid more. Even Michael Jordan wasn't the highest paid player in the league when he was there.
Just think about that. Michael Jordan, the best basketball player in the world. He still wasn't the highest basketball player when he was playing. Of course, it was a white boy somewhere who can't even tie Michael Jackson's shoes. Michael Jordan shoes. But he got paid more than Michael Jordan. The best basketball player in the world. The person who's going to pull in the most money for you. You won't even pay the person the most who will pull in the most money for you. Because he's black. Let's continue.
It's because these are the rules of racism. And just like in Hollywood, the pay scale is also tilted against black talent. In 2020, both Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson got the axe from their respective networks. Tucker Carlson is in good with white power, so he landed on his feet. Don Lemon, not so much.
Not so much,
Tucker Carlson,
you punk.
Ice Cube was just tripping over his own feet to be best bud.
And we're not even clapping for Don Lemon. He's a punk who toes the line for the Democratic Party, trying to fool black people to vote for people who ain't gonna do the damn thing for you. So we glad you got the axe, punk. When you lick the white boy's boot.